Architecture is important because it's what we call, what we consider home. And a home is not something very abstract, it's something very real. Construction is a form of poetry because to make something is something very poetic. It's a human essence which is revealed in it. In terms of how various factors relate to the work, the complexity of life, like the complexity of the brain or the complexity of the DNA, is also expressible in cultural terms. And we know from the great works that we have inherited in architecture, city planning, literature, poetry, music, that it takes a while to understand the multi-layered complexity of a work of art. And insofar as work of architecture is a work of communication, it has to also struggle and strive to express something beyond itself. Always there's something already ongoing in your mind, in your heart, in your eye. So drawing is not like an accounting book. It's not putting something that you already know. To me, drawing comes out of something that doesn't have a very explicit origin, but is there in the drawing itself. Why I prefer to use the hand than a computer, because I think it's the most immediate connection of the mind and of the idea and of a certain kind of immediate reality that is also has a history of tradition. Drawing is not invented by us today. Drawing exists thousands of years ago in the caves. I don't think it's difficult to work with me, but the people I'm lucky to work with, my colleagues and my associates, are really also deeply involved. They are not just carrying out the work, but they are also implicated in this search for something. And so it is very meaningful. Just because something is personal doesn't make it anonymous to others. First of all, you have to consider the developer and contractor not as your enemies. Because if you consider them as enemies, you might as well not do architecture. You have to somehow try to consider the common goal, even though there might be strong differences between you. I think you have to convince people to do the right thing in the right way. Technology has always been a part of architecture. How you orient a building, how a terrace is sited, the angle of vision of a house. Of course, we have new methods, new analysis, a new sense of really making more energy efficient places to live. But certainly it's not a new idea. And to me, sustainability is equally memorability. Something which is memorable, which is well constructed, which really works for the occupants and for the citizens, is something that will continue to be part of the heritage of a place, and that's what city life is about to me. To build a high-density project that has an individuality, that uses really 21st century technology and a sustainable development, but at the same time gives an expression to new desires of living, to a new sense of light, a new sense of space, a new sense of community. I think that's really the essence of the project. Ceramics is an ancient material. It existed in the Babylonian times, and it exists today in a 21st century sense also. It's a material that has great performance quality. It's a really 21st century material that has a great connection to the past, but can be used, I think, in very beautiful ways. You have to use materials which are good, which will perform well, which are contributing to the environment in a positive sense, which have a low carbon footprint, materials that can be afforded, materials can be produced, and materials which are local. That's one of the reasons that I built City Life in the way I did. I did not bring materials from the outside in order to create something that is really grounded in the traditions of the city. I love being in Milano, otherwise I would not be here. You have to be committed to a city. You have to love a city. You have to believe in it. Sometimes it's a marathon. It takes a long, long time to achieve something. And I think that's, to me, preferable than the quick 100-meter dash, where everything is done quickly and you leave and go somewhere else. So yes, I think that not everything that you dream about can be realized.